Do you have a story to share with the world? Of course you do. We all have stories to share. An Anchor podcast allows you to share your interests in a way that connects to others all across the globe. If you have been considering starting your own podcast and don't know where to begin, Anchor makes it easy to record, edit, and publish with the click of a button. You can even add music. Whether it's crime dramas, self improvement, paranormal adventures, or tips about parenting, you too can share your unique imprint on the world. Download the Anchor app or go to anchor.fm to get started today. You've got this. I believe in you. Welcome to the Existential Empath Podcast. My name is Tanya, and I am an intuitive empath. My intention is to share valuable tools and techniques that I have learned so you can tap into your own inner healer naturally and intuitively. Welcome back, everyone. I hope you are all doing well. I am being very strongly guided today to do some light language healing or clearing around the Salem Witch Trials. And it has been very evident in my external reality this week that many of us are clearing and healing some of the betrayals, the deaths, the persecution that happened to us in our past lives around the Salem Witch Trials. And so, I first recognized this when I had a senior trip in high school. We went to Boston and we went to Salem. And when our group went into the area where the witch trials were, I immediately had a panic attack. I couldn't breathe. I was hyperventilating, and my teacher had to walk me outside. I was having obviously a reaction to the environment, to the area there, and I could not actually participate in the event that they had scheduled for the class, for the classroom. And I ended up having to sit outside because I couldn't even go in that room. And, that takes me back to being a very powerful empath, because I was obviously not only picking up on the energies of all of the people that had been persecuted on that land or in that area, but I was also picking up on my own past life from that time. And so, as time went on, I began to recognize I was having issues with claustrophobia. So I would, get on a plane. There was one specific time I was flying back to the United States from Germany. And my friend had gotten on the plane, and it was one of those really big planes where they've got 3 seats on the outer rows and then like 4 or 5 seats on the inner row. Well, I didn't really realize that I was in the inner row in the inner seat. And so when I got on the plane, they had told me that my seat was the one smack dab in the middle of the plane, and I had 2 people on each side of me, and I immediately had a panic attack because I felt, I'm 5'11", and I felt very trapped and confined in this space, and I didn't feel as if I had much of an exit strategy or an exit plan, because I had 2 kind of large people on both sides of me, and it was very difficult for me to be in that situation. And so that was my first recognition of really having a problem with claustrophobia. And I just thought it was my fear of flying. But as time went on, I started to recognize other situations where I would have these subconscious panic attacks or fears come to the surface. And another time, my friend had invited me to go into an oxygen chamber. It was something that was very healing and very good, because it was, allowing me to bring more oxygen into my body. And they had put me inside of it and then zipped it up, and then they have to like decompress it or whatever. And when I got in there, the moment he said, okay, it's ready, you will be in there for 1 hour, I immediately had a panic attack, and I felt confined. I almost felt like I was in a coffin. I felt like I couldn't breathe. I almost felt like I was going to lose air. And I knew consciously, I knew I was safe, but on a subconscious level, I was panicking and I was terrified. And it took, I had said to him, because I could see him outside of the chamber, I said, I'm having a panic attack. I think we might need to pull me out of here. And he said, well, it's going to take about 10 or 15 minutes to make it where we can get you out, And I thought, okay, Tanya, you've got the tools, you can get through this. So immediately I went to EFT tapping and I was able to tap through that panic attack. And what came to my mind immediately was the Salem Witch Trials. And so I had done a quantum healing session, a past regression, and that's what I do. So I do this a lot with my clients. But for myself, I had done a session and I had asked the question, what was my role in the Salem Witch Trials? And I had actually had several lives there, um, different genders, different circumstances, but the one that actually came to mind for healing the claustrophobia and the panic attacks was that I was a medicine woman. I was a medicine woman that helped people in the town, but then they shunned me and I was shunned outside of the town. And um, they, one of my very closest female friends had actually turned me in, and there were kind of witch hunters per se had come with their sticks with fire on it and had come out to capture me. And when they did that, they actually buried me alive. And so this is where these traumas were holding deep within my cellular memory. And when I was able to release that, I started to notice that things were a little bit less stressful for me. I had a very large release. I was able to cry. I was able to get my breath back again. It was almost like for many years of my life, I struggled with asthma. I struggled with breathing problems, and it all correlated back to the Salem Witch Trials and being buried alive and losing oxygen and being in a confined space. And also what I started to recognize is, throughout most of my life, I would get close to females. I would have female friends, and then they would betray me or they would bully me. And so it wasn't really until I started doing these past life regressions that I recognized the loop pattern that was happening. And it was going all the way back on my maternal side, on my mom's side, this sense of control, this sense of aggression that was coming from the females in my life, and this sense of betrayal that was happening. And so I would get close to these women and then they would betray me. They would cheat on me, with my husband or my boyfriend, or they would turn on me with others, or they would bully me, or they would pick on me. Or whatever it may be. And I recognized this throughout my life. I mean, it started in my early childhood, and then in high school I was bullied terribly by females and males, in high school, and then through college I was bullied terribly. And what would happen is it would be one girl, and then she would kind of, gather up the troops, and then they would all turn on me. And I began to recognize this pattern probably in my early 30s. And that's when I started to heal it. And now I don't really have those problems anymore. But I began to recognize it going all the way back to the Salem Witch Trials. And, last night I watched Hocus Pocus 2 because everyone was talking about it. And I was just really curious to see what it was all about. But last night I had some extremely deep healing dreams around the witch trials and around some of the female companions or female friendships in my life, and how I have always had this um, kind of pattern of females wanting to control who I hang out with, what I do, my time. And I've recognized this in patterns in my bosses, throughout all of my careers. And I would have these female bosses that would want to control me, and not only, control me in the workplace, but control my personal life as well. And I was like, this is ridiculous. Why is this happening? And so, once you begin to really figure out why these patterns are being created, and you can dive in there and heal them, then we can remove them and we can move forward and establish, new energy to flow in, so we can let go of these imprints, these cellular imprints that we have from some of these horrific experiences that we've gone through in the past. And now this isn't just for the ladies out there. This is for the men too. And, many of us know when we work in past life regression, we are different genders and different lives. And so, there it was a life where I was one of the ones who was persecuting, people. And then there was a life where I was the one being persecuted. So really, honestly, many of us have had many different spectrums, I guess, where it comes into play around the witch trials. But I wanted to do a healing today because many of us may feel that we were a part of those witch trials, whether it be the persecutors or the persecutees. And I wanted to just really send some good healing energy around that. And another thing I want to mention is that many of us have closed throat chakras, and a lot of it can stem back to the trials as well, because many people were hung. And when we were hung, it closed off our throats, or maybe we were shunned and we couldn't speak our truth, or maybe we were told we were a witch because, whether we were doing anything or not. I mean, people were being persecuted just for buying, herbs or vegetables or, certain things that maybe appeared to be as, witchy or pagan or whatnot. So, yeah, so it really could be anything along those lines. And so, my intention for this healing or this clearing is to really just heal you of whatever it may be. Maybe you were the one persecuting people and now you have this deep feeling of guilt or shame, or maybe you were the one being persecuted and you have this feeling of fear or even anger or even sadness may come up. So, as we move through this light language healing, just allow yourself to feel into it. What emotions are coming up? What visuals are you seeing? What things are you feeling in your body? Where are you feeling them in your body? And just allow yourself to move through those emotions and let your body do what it needs to do. Now, sometimes when I do light language, people will shake. Okay, so animals often shake when they are traumatized. And we as humans don't do that. And what they're doing is they're actually moving the energy out. So if you're feeling like you are shaking uncontrollably, and I've had that happen before, like almost like convulsing a little bit, it's really just the energy moving itself out. So, I would suggest you, sit in a quiet space, maybe sit in a chair or lay on your bed and just allow this energy to move through you and to go where it needs to go. My intention is for this healing light language to really just penetrate deep within those cellular memories, to remove any imprints that may not be serving you anymore, and allowing the beautiful healing energy to come through and to replace that, stuck, stagnant, fearful, guilt ridden, shameful energy, whatever it may be, to move out of you very calmly, very quietly, very easily, and to allow this beautiful energy to cleanse you, to flow through you. Almost like a light language bath is what we will be doing right now. So let's, take a seat, lay down. I'd like for you to all take a deep breath in and just hold it. So take a deep breath in for a count of 3. Hold for a count of 3. And then breathe out for a count of 4. We'll do that one more time. Breathe in for 3. Hold for 3. Breathe out for a count of 4. And the reason why we breathe out for a little bit longer is because it stimulates the parasympathetic nervous system, which is the rest and digest, and it shuts off that sympathetic nervous system, which is the fight, flight, or freeze response. Okay, so let's all just sit back and just really allow ourselves that space that we need, that love, that peace, and surround ourselves with that right now. Dokoniana sharataki ratakahai yaratakatoro tokoshkianai. Na jatakahai hi yaratakahai yorotokoshkianai. I release any energies, any emotions, any memories around my involvement with the witch trials now. And I circle myself with peace and love. Goshkianai. Ha kai aratakato shkorotokoti aratakahai kiana. I release any imprints around the word witch, pagan, medicine woman, healer, any words that may come to the surface now, I release the negative connotation around it now. Goshki anai, ha jatakai, hatai, ananoro tokoshki aratakai. Nai hi ki aratakatai, rotokotoi, shki ananai, hikiki aratai. Ho koi ananai hi, ha hai akai, hanai, horotokoya. Oroto shki aratakatai hi, rotokotoi aratanais. Hai kianai, gogoyatai aratatai kiana. Healing the feminine within our bodies now, allowing this beautiful mothering energy to embrace us, to circle us, to nurture us, to care for us, allowing this beautiful energy to release any feelings of betrayal, sadness, guilt, shame around the females in our life. Doshkonia nai hakakai hi, haijatatai horotokoshki eretehi, nai hai kai hananoi, nojotokorotokoshki erete, nakakai hatatai horotokotoi aratakanai jatakatai, nai hakakai aratakai. Allowing any emotions that may be surfacing now to freely move through our body like a beautiful, rippling, running river. Take a deep breath in and do a hard release out. One more time, deep breath in, hard release out. I no longer hold these memories that I have been holding for so long in my cellular memory around being called a witch, being persecuted, being the persecutee, being the persecutor. I allow my cells to let all of these memories go now around deaths, around betrayals, letting it all go now. I no longer have to hold on to this anymore, and I open myself up to receiving this beautiful energy to flow through me, this healing energy. Gai shkiatai hanai ho kikiatai hajatakatoi anai. Nai jatako rotoko orotoko oriatahai. Na ai orotoko oi iata ai ni e ai oro o ia a. Noriata kiarata oriata shianai. O oriaka hai ai no shahai. Ai hia ka hai I. Ar iata hai iata hanai arata hai shkoriatai. Ariatahi, it's safe to let go of the emotions now. Ariai nia I o orishkiatai I. Allow your body to feel what it needs to feel now. Take a deep breath in. I release the pain now. I honor all of the memories that the witch trials brought for me, and I release them all now. I release the emotional charge around those experiences that I had now. Wow. I hope you all felt some movement in that. I know I did. I had some emotions coming up for myself and the collective through that. Beautiful healing, and it was really coming through. There was some very powerful energy coming through in the beginning to clear those heavy, dense frequencies. And then I felt a beautiful mothering energy come through, and it was very Native American. I was actually seeing a beautiful medicine woman in my mind's eye who was coming through in the beginning. And she was really just healing us and nurturing us and allowing us to feel what it was that we needed to move through. And so I send each and every one of you so much uplifting energy, and I thank you for being here with me today and being present and listening to this beautiful healing energy that came through. Take care. You deserve to navigate your life as an empath in alignment with health, happiness, and abundance. To learn more about the services that I provide, including Beyond Quantum Healing Hypnosis, EFT tapping, and the emotion code, visit my website at www.thesoulcafe.org.